good to be here. Those words spoken by Peter when he saw Jesus transfigured in glory, I think are crucial words for us as well. Lord, it is good to be here, but I worry that all too often we are anywhere but here. When a couple is preparing for marriage, as their wedding date gets closer, one of the skills I work on them developing is this: the ability to become aware of being aware in the present moment. I do this for a variety of reasons, but I want them to be able to do that, for example, on their wedding day itself. It goes by so quick, and it's such a blur, and we can miss it so much. So we practice. I'm not sure what helps various people, but for me it's almost like I step inside myself a half of an inch and watch myself watching. Suddenly I see the colors or smell the smells. I become aware of being alive here and now. And of course I want the couple to be able to do that on their wedding day, to at least get one or two moments like that during the ceremony. But much more importantly, I want them to be able to do that throughout their lives. For I am convinced that it is crucial to our souls that we learn to be able to be here, now. And I worry that all too often we are anywhere but here. Sometimes because we've been seduced to think that this moment, wherever this moment is, doesn't have enough. Advertisers who I know say that they often work on that principle to get us to buy their stuff. They want us to be dissatisfied somehow with our own lives. So we think, oh, I got to go there to be happy, or I got to have this. Or somehow they want us to not think whatever our reality is sufficient. So we go buy their stuff, huh? And I believe that we fall for that on some level. And so we miss what is most real before us. We miss the faces of our loved ones across the table. We didn't really see our children grow up. We miss the beauty and change of a spring day. We miss life. We miss love. And we miss God. Because God is nowhere ever to be found except here and now. Sometimes I think that the other reason people don't want to, or we can be hesitant to become aware of being aware, is if we do so, we'll see the pain that's a part of our lives. And we dread that. And so we distract ourselves in countless ways, huh? Because we fear that pain. But some of you have heard me say this before. Whatever it is that we go through, whatever it is that we face, all the love in the universe is with us each step of the way. It doesn't take away the pain. I know that. But sometimes I've heard myself say that, and I sense in people, my husband just left me, or I just lost my job, my kid's in trouble at school, just buried this loved one. And you want me to believe that all the love in the universe is here right now? Yes. Because that's the promise of our baptism when we receive the sign of the cross. you enter into the very dying of Christ, that you will never suffer or die alone. And I think it's only if we stay in the pain long enough, really, that we can fall through it to where love lies waiting. But we dread that so much. We dread feeling it, but sometimes we will never meet then the God who is already there waiting for us, filled with love, huh? Today's gospel, we told that the reason the disciples saw the glory of Jesus shining through him in that moment was to prepare them for his suffering and death. That when they came, that they would realize that there was something underneath that there was more, and that we could have hope. And my brothers and sisters, that's the promise for us. And that's why I think we've got to learn, with or without words, to say, Lord, it is good to be here. And we've got to learn to be here. One of my personal mantras, as some of you know, is I say to myself, there's nothing there that isn't already here. Last night was a type of night for which I needed to remind myself that, and I heard those very words. Last night, I had the chance to be with some people I really enjoy being with, and I don't do enough of that. I work pretty much every night of the week and most weekend nights. I'm going, oh, this is so good, it'll be so fun. And then after Mass, there were confessions, and there was a lot of people, and that went longer, and then there's some phone messages of people waiting for me. I'm like, oh man, I'm missing it. And I was walking across the parking lot, like going fast, and I said to myself, wait, there's nothing there that isn't already here. And I slowed down a bit, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And I realized love was here, not just there. As a matter of fact, I'm convinced if I don't learn to find goodness and life and love now, or in that moment last night, I wouldn't have found it when I had a chance to be with my friends, because there's nothing there that isn't already here. And so, rather than me just talk about that, I'd actually like to invite you to a little practice of that, and perhaps a little bit of an experience of being aware of being aware. What I'll do is I'll put on a little bit of music. I'll invite you to a few big breaths. You can close your eyes if you want, or not. I know we lost an hour's sleep last night, and if you're afraid that that might put you to sleep, keep moping. But let's take a moment now then, if you would. I'll ask 3 questions, and then we'll have a word from God for us. So if you would, please, breathe deeply 4, 5, 6 times. Good deep breaths. And as you do so, I invite you to become aware of your body. That you have a body. I know it's far from perfect, but it's your body. And for this moment, know it and accept it. And next, who are some of the people in your life now? See their faces for a moment. Sometimes we so busily rush past them, we don't even see them. Take a moment or two. Look at him. Look at her. See them in your mind's eye. I invite a few more deep breaths. And as you do that, I invite you to become aware of being you, alive now. You're far from perfect too, but that sense of who you are, your weaknesses and the deep goodness. And if you can, just be aware of being aware of you. Into the midst of that silence, listen to God say your name. Because God knows who you are. And then God says to you, I am here now. I am with you now. And I love you now. And whenever you stop like this and become aware, I am here loving you. Always, 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 I am here. And then I invite you perhaps to open your eyes again. And as you do, keep an awareness of you and being alive here and now. And if possible, of the presence of God here now. I know that some people use imagination more readily than others. If you found any blessing in stopping like that, good. And maybe you could just do that from time to time, or whatever helps you become aware. If that was difficult, or you fell asleep, it's okay. Because it's still true that whenever we stop, become aware of here, there, we would find God waiting, filled with love for us. Lord, it's good to be here. And I suggest nowhere else ever to be. Big Al. Big Al. Big Al. Well, Big Al, you're in church, and I bet I know what you were doing. Oh, praying. Yeah, you're praying. Okay, yeah. Well, sometimes when I close my eyes to pray, that happens to me too. Now, I know that we lost an extra hour of sleep last night. Hardly, yeah, that's hard. But you were going to go to bed extra early. What happened? TV. You were watching TV. Big Al, I worry that sometimes you, and maybe sometimes many of us, watch too much TV. Boy. Well, when we watch too much TV, we miss what life really has for us. And do you know why I think we watch too much TV sometimes? Well, because we don't see how beautiful our life is. And we miss it. And it's sad. And I think there's another reason as well. Scared. You were scared? Can you tell me about that? Okay. All right, I get that. Don't tell. Okay, I won't tell anybody what you're afraid of. I get that, and I know that sometimes life is a little bit scary. But you remember that prayer that you helped write about that? Where God is in the scary times? Oh, yeah. Well, Big Al, why don't we listen to that prayer now? What do you think? Let's do that.
So many things are changing.
Where is it?
The world is different now.
I don't see it.
I'm told that I will be okay, but I just can't see how.
remember, Big Al? Oh, yeah. Things aren't the way you wanted sometimes, but God is here to stay, and I think part of our job is to learn to look, Big Al, and to notice that love is always there. Okay. So, Big Al, you can remember that, okay? And maybe don't watch so much TV. Oh, try. Okay. And boys and girls, that's not a bad thing to do for Lent. Like maybe don't watch so much TV. But in any case, when life's scary or not, I think we need to learn to stop. And you know what we'll find? Love. God is right there waiting for us.